Hello EU4 players, my name is AlzaboHD, and in the following video we will cover the 10 most difficult and least obtainable achievements in Europa Universalis 4. Whether you want to impress your friends on your Steam profile, or you are in the market for some fictitious internet karma points, you're in the right place, as this video will not only showcase these achievements, but will also present strategies on how best to obtain them. Go ahead and grab some popcorn and lather it with Tabasco sauce, because things are about to get incredibly spicy. Let's get started with number 10. Starting off the list of most unobtainable achievements is the Gothic Invasion achievement at number 10. In order to obtain this achievement, you must start as the tiny opium nation of Theodoro and conquer all of the Germanic culture provinces in Europe. Sounds easy, right? Slow down there, Roomba. This achievement is anything but easy. For starters, the Germanic culture provinces lie almost entirely within the Holy Roman Empire, forcing you to imbibe an ungodly amount of aggressive expansion throughout the campaign and subjecting you to the tortures of endless coalition wars. On top of that, you start off as the only Gothic culture nation in the game, and are entirely surrounded by Islamic Crimea, who seeks to liberate your land and proclaim Sebastopol Crimean. If you're up to the challenge of bringing the Goths back to medieval Visigothia, you must think fast and act quickly. I recommend building your navy up to force limit with transport cogs and declaring a no-CB war on Byzantium as soon as the Ottomans seek to put the Istanbul in Constantinople. Timed correctly, you can sneakily land your troops in Morea and southern Greece and annex the territory to your kingdom. With southern Europe now within range of your claims, you can then snake your way through the Balkans and onto the Austrian borderlands at the gate of the Holy Roman Empire. From here, your options are limitless, although I personally recommend joining the HRE since your country should be small enough and will afford you early game protection from the Ottoman Turks. From here on out, the objective is to expand northwards into Germany and eventually subjugate Central Europe. If you'd like to check out the full time-lapse of my Theodoro to Roman Empire World Conquest campaign, you can check out the card at the top right of the screen. If you're looking for a halal challenge, assalamu alaikum, and welcome to the Third Way, the 9th most difficult achievement to obtain in Europa Universalis. To unlock this achievement, you must select one of the 3 tiny Abadi starting nations in the game and conquer and convert the entirety of the Muslim world. Before declaring a fatwa and engaging in holy war with your mujahideen though, let's cover why exactly this achievement is so mind-numbingly difficult. If you seek to walk the enlightened path of the Abadi mystic, you must first choose between the 3 nations of Oman, Patay, or Mazab, who all start with the required religion. Unfortunately for the player, however, is that all 3 of these minuscule nations are either landlocked deserts, like Oman and Mazab, or technologically backwards and geographically isolated, like Patay. I would argue that the best choice for this achievement is Mazab, whose proximity to Europe lends itself to free institution spread and who can also form the powerful nation of Andalusia and obtain the additional achievement an unlikely candidate. Yes, I'm talking about the same nation that made the list of most difficult to play countries in all of EU4, but even Mazab is still better than the alternatives, which is really saying something. Furthermore, conquering all Islamic provinces in the game is no easy task, as it necessitates subjugating a majority of Africa, the entirety of the Middle East, all of Central Asia, and the spicy islands of Southeast Asia. This is on top of the challenge of overthrowing the Ottoman Empire and Mamluk Kingdom as a tiny and impoverished desert fiefdom. Given that the provinces you will conquer consist almost entirely of 3 development Tatooine tiles, and there isn't access to oil or Saudi riches until after the campaign's playable timeline, your nation will doubtlessly experience the pleasures of rampant corruption and unending debt. My advice would be to form Andalusia, Rum, or Arabia as fast as possible in order to unlock the free claims, modifiers, and really powerful national ideas. Next, you should prioritize religious ideas as you'll be forced to convert the most difficult provinces to proselytize in the entire game. And I cannot emphasize enough how absolutely dreadful this is for your quote-unquote economy, as converting provinces now requires the fun and rewarding mechanic of paying dozens of ducats a month from overtaxing your destitute Jawa and Tuscan Raider-based population. Have you ever heard of Bask? I thought not, it isn't a language the Indo-Europeans would tell you about. Coming in at number 8 on our list of most impossible achievements is Bask in Glory. This achievement requires that you start as the opium nation of Navarra and culture convert at least 32 of the 59 total available Iberian provinces to the culture of Bask before the age of absolutism. The tiny and helpless nation of Navarra starts off landlocked and in a highly precarious situation, surrounded by the great powers of France, Castile, and Aragon. In order to culture convert the peninsula, you'll first have to survive, which is arduous at best, when France and Castile seek to toss you about, pay you off, and gang vassalize you like a used Christmas stocking. If you can grab a strategic alliance with Aragon or France, there's a small chance that you might be able to expand into Castile by promising your allies territory, and there's also a unique event that can trigger which will give you a casus belli to enforce a personal union on Aragon. No matter which form of attack you use to spread your wings into Iberia, you'll have to act incredibly quickly though, as you must conquer and convert slightly more than half of the peninsula before the Age of Absolutism normally appears in 1610. I say normally, because you can channel your inner Time Lord to prevent the Age of Absolutism from spawning until you achieve the conversions, dramatically reducing the difficulty level of this punishing and unforgiving achievement. The basic idea of this strategy is to control the most profitable trade node in the game, either by taking the English Channel or by developing Sevilla, and to ensure that your centers of trade are at level 1 or lower by downgrading them. This will prevent the Age of Absolutism from firing entirely if done correctly, since the prerequisite global trade institution can only spawn in a country that controls the highest value trade node and possesses its capital in the same node, or has at least one level 2 or higher center of trade in said node. With or without exploits, starting a Navarra campaign still relies on a ludicrously high amount of luck and RNG that will turn off all but the most dedicated players. If you find the idea of restarting your campaign 20 times just to grab an alliance a bit daunting, just wait until you see what achievements await us further down this rabbit hole. Looks can be deceiving. If you've ever spotted the Three Mountains achievement, you might be misled into believing that it is the most impossible achievement to obtain in EU4. In reality, it's only the 7th most impossible achievement to accomplish in the game, for reasons that I will now explain. To obtain the Three Mountains, you must own or have a subject own the entire world as Ryokyu. The keyword takeaway here is subject. You don't have to actually core and conquer all of those pesky provinces across the world as the tiny and helpless tributary of Ryokyu. In fact, you can use my patented Ryokyu strategy guide to become Japanese shogun and unlock the ability to vassalize everyone on Earth without fear of going above your diplomatic relations limit. In all honesty though, becoming shogun as Ryokyu is still very, very challenging, and requires a ridiculous amount of RNG for China to actually throw you a bone and conquer Kyoto on your behalf. If you still have no idea what I'm talking about, the basic idea is to enforce peace on any daimyo that borders the province of Kyoto, invade and annex the province, wait for Ashikaga to declare war on you, and then rely on the benevolent and liberating People's Army of Ming China to come to your aid. After all, you start the game as a tributary of Beijing, and they will usually protect you when you are attacked by Japan, though their navies have a tendency to sink to the bottom of the Sea of Japan. If you luck out and Ming occupies Kyoto for you, you can switch your first government reform to daimyo before signing peace, which allows you to become shogun of Japan. From here on out, you can vassalize an unlimited amount of nations, permitting you to be the overlord of an ever-increasing vassal swarm that you can use to conquer the world on your behalf. This strategy is still possible as of the most recent Manchurian update, and if you're interested in a more in-depth strategy on how to obtain the Three Mountains, I invite you to check out my video guide located at the card at the top right of your screen. Amorphously expanding their way onto number 6 on our list of most horrifyingly difficult EU4 challenges is France with the Big Blue Blob achievement. In order to unlock this achievement, you must start a campaign as France and own at least 100 European provinces by the start of the 16th century. Considering you only start with 27 provinces, you'll have to don your beret and embrace the baguette to conquer an average of 1.3 provinces every year to conquer the required 100 by the year 1500 AD. Irrespective of the fact that you are playing as the most overpowered nation in the medieval world, this achievement is anything but easy. European provinces are rich, but are also too expensive to core reliably with your finite amount of administrative monarch power. And, given the value of the provinces that surround your nation, if you expand into Europe, you will often trigger coalitions that will unequivocally lead to a game over for your campaign. If you want to attempt this ridiculously difficult and time-gated challenge, I personally recommend carving a snake through Northern Europe until you reach the honeypot of Ireland, Scandinavia, and Russia. These regions are home to barren, undeveloped, and depopulated provinces that are eager to embrace French Enlightenment and civilization. More pertinent, though, is that these low-value provinces are cheap to core, easy to seize in quantity during peace deals, and impact your aggressive expansion at a much lower rate than those of the HRE, Italy, or Spain. And since you only need 100 European provinces, regardless of the value of said provinces, this strategy is a great way to rapidly and reliably absorb the periphery of Europe into the realm of the Sun Kings. You can also opt to take out dozens of loans and/or devalue your currency to help fund this exportation of liberté, as you can just as easily stop playing the campaign after you obtain the achievement. If you're in it for the long haul and decide to continue playing as France though, you're in a good position to also unlock the Better Than Napoleon achievement by seizing Moscow, Berlin, and Vienna. Ultimately, the potatoes, pierogi, and meatballs you've absorbed from your brave and non-cowardly advance into the poorest regions of Europe will empower your nation to imperial greatness. If your idea of having fun is playing landlocked, non-feudal nations with flags resembling an elementary school student's attempt at drawing an elephant, Dahomey and Where the Heart Is at number 5 on our list of impossible achievements is perfect for you. To get your hands on this gruelingly difficult achievement, you must play as the African nation of Dahomey and cleanse the Niger and Sahel regions of West Africa from Islam and non-fetishist religion provinces by the year 1500 AD. In order to visualize the magnitude of this impossible quest, take a gander at this image of the required provinces you must fetishize by the year 1500. Whereas the previous achievement placed us in the reigns of the most powerful nation in the world, this achievement is only possible to obtain as quite literally one of the worst countries in the entire game. This is because the Homies in Dahomey start off in 1444 as a non-feudal nation, handicapping your country into paying 50% more monarch power for all technological advances. Making matters worse, you are a landlocked one-province nation with a pathetic economy and starting military. I highly recommend opening your campaign by attacking the neighboring nations of Dagbon and Oyo, and annexing them to open up western routes of conquest. Since your people have no concept of the institution of peasantry, nobles, or the great chain of being, you should not upgrade your administrative or diplomatic technologies, but instead focus on developing your gold-containing provinces to get the most out of your economy. You should still spend your military monarch power on technology when and where you can though, and feed as much of the Muslim territory as possible to fetishist vassals and subjects you release or subjugate in peace deals. This achievement is a quintessential race against time, and is the perfect proving ground for the development of your aggressive expansion management and rebellion stopping abilities. Up next on our list of most impossible achievements is a challenge that is far more obscure than it is traditionally difficult. This is because the Pheasant Strut achievement requires a ridiculously specific set of circumstances and an even more ridiculous determination on the part of the player to ever unlock it. To obtain this achievement, the player must form Nepal as the nation of Gorkha, and defeat Prussia with at least 100,000 Prussian deaths in the war, with both belligerents being the primary target of the war. Fortunately, forming Nepal is easy peasy, but the issue of Prussia is another matter entirely. This is because the AI is mentally challenged, and will actively avoid forming the strongest European nation in the game at all costs, forcing your impoverished South Asian polity to engage in European nation building more than halfway across the world. The easiest way to artificially create Prussia is to snake your way north and westwards through Central Asia to Central Europe, force rebels to convert your nation to Protestantism, conquer the Baltic coastline, release either the Teutonic Order or Brandenburg as a vassal, convert them to Protestantism, and finally feed them the required territory. If that sounds painstakingly obnoxious, it's because it is, but at least it's theoretically possible, as Prussia is formable even as a subject state. Once you feed your subject territory and they form Prussia, go ahead and release it as an independent state and declare war on it as fast as possible. The goal here is to harvest as many little Friedrichs as possible, so I highly recommend not occupying any territory. Simply stack wipe the puny Prussians as they pop up and give them time to repopulate and draft their children into the army. There is no time gate for this achievement, so you can relax and engage in an infinity war with the goose steppers and harvest their organs so intensely that even the Aztecs will find it distasteful. At the very least, Nepal has excellent military ideas, so even if the idea of cosplaying as Mao Zedong and long marching and committing genocide sounds challenging, it's a hell of a lot easier than what's coming up next. The only thing more difficult than conquering man is conquering the human spirit. Coming in at number 3 on our list of most difficult challenges is the One Faith achievement. In order to unlock this achievement, the player must directly control and convert all non-wasteland provinces on Earth to their respective religion. For lack of a better word, This achievement is unobtainable for the vast majority of players. While I do intend to make a video guide on how to conquer the world, the scope and strategy of this endeavor is far too long-winded to outline in a couple of snarky sentences and obscure references. If you have obtained a WC before and know what you're doing though, a One Faith achievement run is theoretically possible with preparation. I strongly recommend selecting a nation that offers religiously focused national ideas, like Najd, which will greatly aid your quest in indoctrinating the human race to your religion. Remember how I mentioned earlier how fun and rewarding the mechanic of paying for missionary conversion is? If you choose to play on any patch after the release of Dharma, be prepared to funnel all of your profits into becoming a prophet. Elron and Tom Cruise aside, Sunni Muslim nations are probably the best choice to select for a One Faith attempt. The reasoning is threefold. Sunni provinces are 2% more difficult to convert for other religions, leaders who embrace 100 mysticism get bonuses to missionary strength, and all branches of Islam can spread their religion for free in trade company areas with the Cradle of Civilization DLC. Another crucial tip I'd recommend for anyone crazy enough to attempt a One Faith campaign is to enable the random new world at the start of your game if you have the Conquest of Paradise DLC. This is because the random new worlds have substantially less provinces to conquer and convert than the normal new world, not to mention that there are far fewer nations to annex and far more uncolonized provinces you can simply opt to skip. If you lack any of these useful DLCs, you're in luck, as there's currently a sale at the Paradox Interactive store. If you want to benefit from this 50% off DLC sale and support the channel, I'll leave an affiliate link in the description box and comment section of this video. Nearing the top of our list of ridiculously unachievable challenges no one should attempt is the True Heir of Timur achievement at number 2. To truly demonstrate your mastery of Europa Universalis and unlock this achievement for yourself, you must start as a vassal of the Timurids, form the Mughal Empire, and conquer the entirety of the Indian subcontinent by 1550. Although you can technically select between any of the Timurid subject states, only Transoxiana is feasible as they start off at a comparable strength to the Timurids and can declare independence immediately. After becoming independent, your first order of action is to conquer Delhi and form the most powerful formable nation in the game, the Mughal Empire. From there, you need to be at war constantly, expanding south, east, and along the coastline, and mixing up your conquests with vassalization and outright annexation. Keep in mind that you have to conquer all of South Asia before 1550, meaning that you will not benefit from absolutism or administrative efficiency, but you will benefit from tremendous amounts of aggressive expansion. This also means that if you run into a coalition, it's game over, unless if you're able to cancel subjects or sacrifice an ally to release provinces. This achievement will test the limits of your ability to expand and micromanage troops, and will throw everything you thought you knew about country management straight upside down. To even have a chance at this achievement, you'll have to take out an ungodly amount of loans and plunge your nation into unseen levels of corruption, but this is acceptable, as you only need to play until 1550 anyways. If you're able to conquer India in time, congratulations! You can now watch as your Mughal empire splinters and fragments into the dustbin of history. Hooray for historical accuracy.
How can you stop?
At the top of our list, and undoubtedly the most difficult achievement in the entire Universalis, is the Eat Your Greens achievement at number 1. To unlock this vegetarian-friendly menu option, you must own or have a subject own all grassland provinces on the Asian continent as the tiny and health-conscious opium nation of Kale, all before the start of the Age of Absolutism. There are 2 ways to accomplish this goal, although only one is possible in practical terms. You can opt to go about it in the traditional way, by exploiting the global trade institution and preventing the spawning of the Age of Absolutism, or you can go about it the impossible way, by actually conquering the provinces before 1610. If you opt to go down the path of tradition and treachery and aim to delay the institution, I strongly recommend rushing for control of the Spiess Islands and Southeast Asia as fast as humanly possible. With control of the Malacca trade node, you can make it the most valuable trading region in the game, allowing you to indefinitely delay the global trade institution by using the methods we discussed earlier for the Bask achievement. If you are a mad lad and seek to actually accomplish this achievement without cheating, I literally have no advice, other than Godspeed and good luck. There are hundreds of grassland provinces spread throughout Asia, and they are littered throughout the boonies of Siberia, Persia, Central Asia, and even Ming China. At least with the institution delay, you can feasibly conquer all of Asia by 1820, including the grassland provinces. But without absolutism, and with the time gate, you'll have to stand toe-to-toe with China, India, Japan, and the Timurids as a third world, one province chiefdom, and do it all within 160 years. I haven't attempted this achievement because I value my mental health and actively avoid eating anything that's green, particularly vegetables like kale. Before ending the video, I'd like to quickly cover some of my final thoughts. Some of you might be wondering why the World Conqueror achievement didn't make it to the cut on this list. This is because, at least in my opinion, conquering the world isn't difficult so much as it is annoying and needlessly time-consuming. Anyone opting to start a campaign as the Ottoman